Have you ever noticed that some things only start to flow when you finally stop trying to control them? It's as if the universe was just waiting for one gesture from you. The moment you let go and everything mysteriously begins to align. The truth is, quantum change doesn't happen when you force it, but when you allow it. There's an invisible force that moves everything, and it responds to your frequency. While your energy vibrates in attachment, fear, or neediness, the flow of abundance remains blocked. But the instant you let go, something shifts within you. The field opens up, possibilities reorganize themselves, and what seemed impossible begins to happen effortlessly. In this video, you'll understand why letting go is the most powerful act of manifestation. You'll discover what really happens energetically when you stop resisting, and how it completely alters your vibrational field. This is where spirituality meets quantum physics, and where the ego makes room for the universe to act. Stay until the end, because there I'll reveal a practical key to release what still binds you, and allow your energy to resonate with the frequency of prosperity, lightness, and true abundance. If you feel ready to elevate your frequency and manifest in a different way, subscribe to the channel and allow this message to touch your field. There are subtle forces pulling you toward the past, memories, emotions, and stories that vibrate silently within you. They're like energetic threads, keeping you tied to old versions of who you were. And even when you try to move forward, something inside seems to resist, as if there's an invisible anchor holding you back. The mind says it's security, but the heart knows it's a prison. These vibrational weights aren't just memories, they're unresolved frequencies. Every time you relive a pain, a regret, or a fear, your energy aligns again with that point in time. It's like tuning into an old station and trying to hear a new song. The prosperity, abundance, and miracles you desire cannot reach a field that still vibrates in yesterday. Many call this karma, but really, it's just the law of attraction in action. You keep manifesting what you haven't been able to let go of. That's why the same situation returns in different faces, in different cities, in cycles that repeat themselves, until you realize it's not the world that's repeating, it's your vibration insisting on the same pattern. When someone finally recognizes this, true spiritual awakening begins. It's the moment you realize that nothing external can change while the internal remains the same. The universe only responds to what you emit, and what you emit still carries ancient echoes. That's when the question few dare to ask arises: what within me still refuses to leave? And when that question settles in, something begins to move. A different energy starts to stir, preparing the ground for what comes next, the confrontation between the desire to control and the deep calling to let go. Humanity has been taught to believe that control is synonymous with power. But on the energetic plane, control is just another form of disguised fear. The more someone tries to command every detail of life, the more their vibrational energy contracts. And in that contraction, abundance cannot flow. Because the universe doesn't respond to tension, it responds to surrender. The fear of losing makes many hold onto what no longer vibrates with them. A relationship that's already ended, a job that's already exhausted, an identity that no longer fits. And yet, they keep insisting, believing that holding on is winning. But in truth, maintaining what doesn't flow is resisting your own growth. It's like holding water in your hands. The more force, the faster it escapes. In the law of attraction, everything that's forced creates resistance. Prosperity comes when energy is free, not when it's controlled. Control generates a field of scarcity, an unconscious message that says, "I don't trust." And the universe always mirrors that vibration. It responds with the same echo. Then nothing moves. Thus, the cycle of blockage repeats until the heart understands the secret. True power lies in aligning with the flow, not fighting against it. It's when a person realizes that trusting isn't giving up. It's choosing to vibrate with the rhythm of the cosmos. Letting go is an act of deep faith, a silent affirmation that life knows the way. And at that point, something begins to change. Energy reorganizes, the field begins to respond differently. And it's exactly at that instant that the universe begins to act. When you stop forcing, it begins to guide. But sometimes that guidance comes in the form of chaos, and everything you thought was secure begins to crumble. There are moments when the universe seems relentless. Things that once seemed solid begin to dissolve without warning. Relationships end, plans fail, paths close, and suddenly everything that gave life meaning seems to slip through your fingers. It's the point where the soul cries out for answers, but the silence of the invisible is all you hear. What few understand is that this collapse isn't punishment, it's liberation. When old energy needs to be purified, life doesn't ask permission. It just acts. It's as if the universe said, "You didn't let go by choice, so now I'll help you let go." This force is love in its rawest form, because it strips away what you wouldn't have the courage to leave, but that no longer belongs to your new frequency. And in the midst of chaos, the soul begins to realize what's crumbling is only what no longer vibrates with what you're becoming. These periods of deconstruction are portals to a quantum leap. Every apparent loss is reorganizing energy for something greater. But while the ego fights to rebuild the old, the universe works silently to manifest the new. The fear of not understanding the process is natural, but it's precisely in it that true faith begins to be born. Everything that falls apart at this stage opens space for the flow of prosperity and abundance. It's the cycle of vibrational energy purifying itself, preparing ground for an expansion of consciousness. It's at this point that the soul is tested between resisting what's leaving or trusting what's coming. And when the person finally stops resisting, they arrive at the most feared and most sacred portal of all. The moment of emptiness, where the ego dies and the soul awakens. After everything falls apart, comes the silence. A strange emptiness, uncomfortable and, at the same time, mysteriously sacred. It's the point where the ego no longer knows what to do, because all control has been stripped from its hands. In this space of uncertainty, many try to flee. But it's there, exactly there, that true transformation begins. The void isn't absence. It's the field where the new universe begins to be drawn. When the mind loses its references, the soul can finally speak. And it doesn't speak in words. It speaks in energy. It speaks in the calm that arises after crying, in the breath that becomes lighter, in the instant when the person realizes they're still alive, even without having answers. This is the beginning of frequency elevation, the return to pure trust, to the wisdom that comes from silence. The void is the womb of spiritual rebirth. It's the interval between what was and what will be. And it's also the most difficult test, because the ego calls it loss, while the soul calls it liberation. In this moment, whoever dares to remain present within the nothingness begins to feel something subtle, a new vibrational energy emerging, soft and serene, as if the universe itself were breathing through them. From there, the person begins to understand the flow. They realize they were never alone, that life was always guiding, even when it seemed to collapse. This awareness opens a new field of perception. Everything seems lighter, more connected, more real. And for the first time, Faith ceases to be a concept and becomes a direct experience, and it's at this exact instant that the mysterious and beautiful phenomenon happens, the quantum leap. When vibration changes, the entire universe responds. The quantum leap doesn't happen when something changes outside of you. It happens when something changes within. It's the instant when the soul's frequency realigns with truth. Suddenly, the energy that once seemed stuck begins to move. The same situations present themselves, but you no longer react the same way. Fear loses its power, control disappears, and a sensation of lightness emerges, as if the universe were finally breathing along with you. In this moment, the quantum field responds to the new vibration. Timelines reconfigure, and reality begins to mirror the frequency of trust. Small signs appear, coincidences, synchronicities, unlikely encounters. It's the law of attraction manifesting in its purest form. Aligned vibration creates the shortcut between the invisible and the tangible. Everything that once seemed distant begins to flow naturally, effortlessly, because now the energy is free. Prosperity doesn't arrive because you chase it, but because you become compatible with it. Abundance is no longer a search, it's a reflection. And it's at this point that the mind falls silent and the heart understands the mystery. Nothing changed. And at the same time, everything changed. You didn't force the universe, you became the universe in motion. And this is quantum power in action. This change cannot be explained by logic alone because it's felt before it's understood. It's like crossing an invisible portal, an instant of surrender so deep that the past simply loses its power. And then, the new reality begins to draw itself before you, light, alive, aligned with the vibrational energy of your expanded being. But there's something even deeper that emerges after the leap. A new way of existing, a vibration that doesn't fight, doesn't fear, doesn't need to control, it just flows. And it's from this new state of consciousness that true alignment happens. After the leap, something changes silently. The weight dissolves, the heart becomes lighter, and the mind, once noisy, begins to rest. It's as if life flows back inside, effortlessly, without struggle. This is the frequency of true spiritual freedom. You realize you no longer need to chase what's already yours by vibrational right, peace, prosperity, love, wholeness. Everything begins to happen naturally in the perfect rhythm of the universe. The new vibration isn't a passing emotion, but a state of being. It's born when you understand that everything you lost was only what prevented you from finding yourself. Now, the internal space is clear, and the universe can finally fill it with what truly resonates with your essence. The energetic field expands, and what once seemed impossible becomes simple because you've become compatible with the flow of abundance. The person who emerges from this process no longer needs to prove anything. They live in surrender, guided by synchronicities. They realize that every thought is a seed and every feeling, a frequency that shapes reality. And that's why inner silence becomes their greatest tool. It keeps energy pure, elevated, and in harmony with the vibration of creation. In this state, manifestation becomes a natural consequence of expanded consciousness. This new reality isn't made of effort, but of alignment. Opportunities appear, the right connections flow, and everything seems to fit together with divine precision. You no longer push life, you dance with it. And the lighter you become, the more the universe responds with grace, beauty, and perfect synchronicity. And it's at this point that the soul understands the great secret. Letting go was never losing. It was always returning to your true power. And now that you vibrate at this frequency, the entire universe conspires to keep you there. Now you understand. Letting go isn't giving up, it's aligning. It's the instant when you stop trying to control the flow and the flow begins to carry you. It's when vibrational energy expands and the universe can finally deliver what it always wanted to give you. By applying this, you don't just manifest, you elevate your frequency to a new level of consciousness. Notice what has already changed in you just by hearing these words. The resistance has diminished, the energy has opened. You've already begun to vibrate differently, and it's in this state that prosperity and abundance flow naturally, effortlessly, fearlessly, without struggle. Now look within and ask, what within me is still trying to control the uncontrollable? This question is the door, and when you cross it, the old dissolves and the new begins to emerge. Quantum change happens exactly there, in the space between letting go and allowing. The extra key is simple. Practice vibrational detachment daily. Before sleeping, take a deep breath and say in silence, I trust, I release, I allow. Repeat until you feel the energy become light. This is how you reprogram the field and create space for the universe to act in your favor. If this message resonated with your soul, like this video, leave your comment about what you're ready to let go of. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep elevating your frequency. And then watch the next video, because the universe always has more to reveal to those who are ready to listen. The universe always responds to your vibration, and right now, yours is rising.